I'm David Gugino, and in today's book review, I have a little bit of a different setting. I've got my coffee at 5 o'clock in the afternoon, and my coffee says Eat, Sleep, Lift, something that I love to do. And then right here, we've got The Subtle Art of Not Giving a Fuck by Mark Benson. So, this is a very, very good book. I'm going to try to block out, hopefully, the noise during my editing, but so this is probably one of the best books I've read, and honestly it's a good starter to voracious reading. And what I mean by that is it's an easy book to understand, but he makes life very, very simple and gets very in-depth about values. And you're probably wondering, what does it mean by values? As in, like, when you value with loneliness, people who are single and live by themselves, people who work out and suffer and have a purpose for it. People who say, oh, their life sucks, and then there's some people who say, yep, my life sucks, but I'm going to do whatever I can to fix it. Or people who value having problems in their lives. That's what he talks about a lot, not in this book, but this particular author. And he talks a lot about perception. Because honestly, life is how you perceive things. So for example, there are people who love being single and love living their lives, and there are people who love being in a relationship, who love working around it, and I love to take care of my finances. Some people don't. Some people like to splurge, but this is a very good book. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to quote a few things from this book, and he tells two stories in this book that have stuck with me for many, 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 many years. Because I read this book 4 years ago, and I still remember stuff from it. Out of all the books I've read, this is the main one I actually know stuff from. But now, this is what he talks about being comfortable, and kind of introduces us why this book is important. So listen to this. Because once you become comfortable with all the shit that life throws at you, and it will throw a lot of shit at you, trust me, he says in parentheses, you become invincible in a sort of low-level spiritual way. After all, the only way to overcome pain is to first learn how to bear it. Now, you might think, that's kind of deep. Well, in reality, it's probably not that deep. So, for example, at my job, there are people who work, well, at my job. At other people's jobs, there are people who work for a mean boss. I recently heard from an entrepreneur that owning a business is hard and working for a mean boss is hard. You choose your hard. You choose which one you want to do. So, for example, with pain, you can choose to overcome it, choose to get used to it, or you can choose to let it weaken you. Now, in this book, when it comes to not giving a fuck, when you go through stuff and go through stuff in your life, or just random problems. Like, for example, you want to do something fun over the weekend, but your week gets slammed, so you have to spend your chores working over the weekend, and I guess doing your fun thing over the weekend as well. So instead of having that relaxing time before you have fun, you get slammed with a bunch of different stuff, and that's what life is. It's filled with setbacks and interruptions, or some people would call them curveballs. But that's what he talks about a lot in this book, is when life just throws random stuff. And that stuff I just mentioned, that's not even horrible. Like, it's not even horrible stuff like that. It's just random little things that we humans get super mad at because we get involved in a routine. Some people like routine, but you need to learn to not get involved with routine. Because when it gets interrupted, you're going to get mad. So that's kind of what he talks about a lot in this book as well. So, the other quote that I have is, I have a couple on this page. The truth is, sometimes life sucks, and the healthiest thing you can do is admit it. Honestly, that's pretty true in my eyes. If I'm going to be completely honest with you, that is very, very true. Constant positivity is a form of avoidance, not a valid solution to life's problems. So, I understand being optimistic and having a good mindset, but if you're broke and almost kicked out of your house, and you're like, well, I'll live on the streets and figure it out from there. No. You solve your problem as to how you can save your house, as to how you can work more to make more money, stuff like that. That is what you would do. Because it's like people who are 300, 400 pounds, and they're like completely made of blubber, who barely move, can barely work, and have no energy. And they're like, oh, I'm fat and happy. Yeah, they tell themselves that, and they're positive about that, but no one is that overweight and happy. No one is happy being super broke and spending all of their money. No one is happy being single but doing nothing with their life while they're single. So think about that for a second. And I might have had to bring some water out here. I'm actually getting kind of thirsty. This is coffee, by the way. I'm drinking coffee at 5 in the afternoon. Anyway, the other quotes I have in this book. Anger is arguably quite healthy in many situations. Remember, emotions are just feedback. See, it's the punching people in the face that's the problem, not the anger. The anger is merely the messenger of my fist in your face. Don't blame the messenger, blame my fist or your face. When we force ourselves to stay positive at all times, we deny the existence of life's problems. And when we deny our problems, we rob ourselves of the chance to solve them and generate happiness. Problems add a sense of meaning and importance to our life. Thus, to duck our problems is to lead to meaningless, even if supposedly pleasant existence. Think about that for a second. Problems are meant to add a sense of importance and meaning, or sense of meaning and importance in our life. So, for example, when you don't get to go to the grocery store that one day out of the week, you're like, oh man, I don't get to go, but you realize how important it is, and you realize that, hey, that's a problem, but then when you solve that problem, you carve out another day in the week to go to the grocery store. So that's the other issue that some of us humans have. We don't like having problems, we hate when our routine gets mixed up, but it's all with meaning, it's all with purpose. God, our Lord and Savior, put us on this earth for a reason, for a purpose. A purpose to realize that, hey, life is not always going to be perfect. Life is going to be hard. Life is going to throw curveballs at you, some a little major than others. And in life, you can't get used to routine. You gotta get used to interruptions. And it's like with hanging out with friends. You might think, I enjoy being alone, I'm too tired to hang out with friends. Well, honestly, you kind of sound dumb when you say that because you have people who want to spend time with you. Not only that, but if you're single and you go to a bar with a bunch of friends one night, you might meet a girl there. You might meet a new friend to hang out with. Or like, I want to do an MMA class. I'm trying to carve that into my schedule, but it might all be with men, but I might be able to hang out with these people. I'll be learning a valuable skill. I might eventually I don't know if I'm ever going to do a fight because I don't like getting hit in the face, but I'll learn a valuable skill and be able to do it with people I like. And it will be an interruption because I love my evenings, but I'm going to be spending the evening. I'm going to spend the morning working out, the 8 hours doing my day job, and then doing MMA at night. So you might think, gee, that sounds like a horrible schedule. Yeah, but it gives me meaning, gives me purpose to do something throughout the day rather than go to work and go home. So now the other quote that I have, and then I'll get to my stories, is, if it feels like you versus the world, chances are it's really just you versus yourself. That's another thing to think about too. A lot of your problems are caused by you. A lot of things that happen in life are because of you. And I'm going to bring this point around because he makes a very good point, but he tells a story of the drummer of Megadeth. So he originally worked for Metallica, was a drummer for Metallica, and then he got fired from Metallica. I can't remember his name, but he got fired from Metallica, and then he started Megadeth. He made millions of dollars, toured around the world, but here's the issue with this. When he got fired from Metallica, he said, I'm going to start a band that's going to make more money and be more famous than Metallica. The unfortunate thing is to this story is that didn't happen. Metallica made more money, traveled more, and became more famous than Megadeth. And you might think, well, he still made millions of dollars and still traveled to Europe. And he got married and had kids and everything. You're like, yeah, that's great. But he ended up not being happy with his life because he made a promise that didn't get fulfilled. And he lived on that promise and loved that promise he didn't make define his life. The other story I have to tell you this is there was a drummer for the Beatles who got fired, who I think started his own band, was a drummer for others, got married, had kids, and then left that alone. He got fired from one of the most famous bands in American history. And he said, I'm going to find my own happiness, I'm going to perceive my life my own way, and not like getting fired from the Beatles to find my life, and I'm not going to live with it. So, there's more details of these stories in this book, which is why you have to read it. But if you think about it, your life is how you perceive it. Your problems are how you perceive it. Your problems give you meaning in life, and that's what this book is about. It's all art of not giving an F about what life throws at you and how people think about and how other people perceive your problems. It's all you versus you. Everything that happens in your life is because of you, and that's what I love about what Mark Manson does. He talks about this in all of his books. It's all about you. Your life is defined by how you think and how you react to things in life, and how you react to what's thrown at you. So, I really like this book. It was an amazing book. I think you should read it. He has another one called I think Everyone is book. And I think it's a book about hope. I believe is what that's called. But I really like this book. I hope you read it. And thank you all for watching.